Are you ready for combat night?
All right. I got you. I got you. Appreciate it. No problem.
Make some noise while we tally up the judges' decisions. Make some noise. You guys are dead. Blue corner, combat night Muay Thai champion. He broke his jaw. Slipper knockout! Slipper knockout!
Your opponent's hand today?
No.
Where do you get that from? I noticed none of the guys from your gym shake hands.
Yeah, I don't think there's a need to shake hands, you know, like any need to show respect before the fight, because they're going in there to, you know, beat me in front of my family, in front of my friends, so I don't think there's a need to shake hands. You know, I'll show respect after the fight once I won already. I'm 5-0, I'm undefeated, you know, I've never lost, and that's never going to happen.
Champ, first time ever done at combat night if you achieve it tomorrow.
Can't wait to fight you, bro. We both came for the same thing. God sent us both here, didn't he? You know what you did. You know what we came for. Enjoy it, brother. What's up, guys? Hell yeah.
All right, y'all are all set.
Don't blink.
Fight in Crocs, slides, or flip-flops?
Crocs. I'm putting in sports mode. You know.
Crocs. Easily Crocs, bro. There's a fucking strap on the back of them shits.
Crocs, because it's sports mode, always.
Yeah.
Crocs, man, you can strap them on, bro.
Yeah.
You got sport mode.
The Crocs because they got sport mode.
Yeah, all right.
Crocs, maybe? I'm in sport mode? I don't know.
Crocs going sports mode.
Yeah.
It's over with. Crocs all the way.
Yeah.
Sponsor me, Crocs. Crocs got sports mode.
They do.
Exactly, dog.
Yeah.
You flip that thing up. Whoo! I'm ready for kung fu action. You feel me?
All right, you're good.
Combat time!
Combat time! Combat time! Combat time! Combat time!
Maintain your current position. It's strategically wrong to take
Combat time!
There we go. I didn't flinch, though. I didn't flinch.
KO'd, and
Do you know what he said?
what is that?
You don't speak English.
Oh, you don't? No culo. Oh, no, don't kick me in the culo. No huevos.
Huevos. That's that way.
Get KO'd, and it go viral. Or your girlfriend get KO'd, and it go viral.
I'd rather get KO'd and go viral.
Yeah.
Because, like, my girlfriend should never be hit like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you rather wear Crocs, slides, or sandals in a fight?
Crocs, because it's sports mode, always. It's Crocs. Yeah. I mean, I'm not wearing Crocs right now, but, like.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for this post-fight installment. We're going to chat about the fights from yesterday. I will be joined by Mitchell Chamali and Miles the Black Santa Amos. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What is up? What is up?
So some of those reels, I was kind of sitting here chuckling as I was watching some of them unfold. We definitely need to get a Crocs sponsorship going. Hashtag sports mode.
all the guys were ready for that one. Honestly, I would have said sandals. I'm not a Crocs guy.
I'm not a Crocs guy either, and any of that type of footwear is not ideal. I'd rather be barefoot.
Yeah, kicking them off. I want to just kick them off. And
Yeah.
sport mode, you can't kick them off.
If you're in a fight, though, I agree with someone. If you're in a fight, yeah, Crocs. But it's just casually just walking around, slides.
Gotta be.
Because if you're barefoot, right, and there's glass on, it depends on where you're in a fight at. Are you in a fight at a bar? You in a fight on the street? You know, your feet, you step on glass or something. If you're barefoot, right, like.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, man. We had a night packed full of fights. And I ain't gonna lie, I was sleeping until like 15 minutes ago.
I wish I had a nap today, man.
I didn't have no choice. It took over me. But we'll just go ahead and kick it off talking about it from the top of the card, top-ish, because I'm going to start with what was essentially the people's main event, the Bantamweight title fight between Aiden Patrick and Kevin Angel. We saw some of the build-up in that reel where Kevin Angel refused to shake hands. And that was something that kind of sparked some discussion between us about, you know, whether you shake hands before a fight or whatever. But that fight was absolutely bangarang.
Yes.
It was sparks flying from start to finish. What you got, Mitch?
Real quick, Miles, do you think it's disrespect to not shake someone's hand?
I think it's disrespectful if they put it out and you wave it off. But if you don't initiate it, I don't think it's disrespectful if you don't initiate it, though. But if somebody puts it out, they're like, hey, what's up? You know, like, you know, good luck tomorrow. That's it. We don't have to like hug and yeah, bro, whatever. But if I stick my hand out, just be all right, cool. Like,
okay.
But
I don't know.
I don't believe the glove touch before like that. Nah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on it being disrespectful or not. I think it's a lack of respect. You're not giving them respect, but I don't know if you're being disrespectful. At some point though, last night it looked like he was just being disrespectful. He was losing the rounds, and the guy tried before every round to give him a hug, a dap, some kind of something. Even after the fight, went up to give him a hug, and he pushed him off of him. After the fight was announced, I think the coaches might have said, like, hey, man, it might be time to go show him some love. And kind of gave him a hug. But the fight was great, man. It was very back and forth. You know, I think that clear winner was the guy who won.
Aiden Patrick.
Aiden Patrick. But it was so close still. He was just landing the cleaner shots, and he was being a little more elusive while Kevin was trying to, you know, trudge in and pressure him, had some good body shots, landed a lot of good body shots, but it didn't seem to set on Aiden at all. So I enjoyed that fight a lot. I enjoyed the build up to it. I enjoyed all the discussion around it. And I'm definitely excited to see both those guys fight again.
Yeah, I think what the difference was, like, in my opinion, from my perspective, Kevin definitely won the first two rounds, but it was that third round when Aiden switched to southpaw. When he switched from his southpaw stance, I think that sort of like was giving Kevin a little bit of difficulty. He switched to southpaw and he started eating him up with an inside kick. And then that threw off every time Kevin, because he was just aggressive coming in. But when Aiden switched to southpaw and just kept kicking him with an inside kick, I think that was what threw Kevin off a little bit. And then from there, that's when he started to take it off. So like the first two rounds to me was, Kevin, and then Aiden, he took it off. Kevin definitely was still in there. And then like the halfway through the fourth, he tried to build it back up. But then I think just also too, Aiden was just able to keep up with the pace, like just a little bit more than Kevin was.
Yeah.
So what I have to say is thank goodness we got to see 5 rounds of that fight, because whenever the third round was over, it was like, oh no, we need to see some more.
3 rounds, Kevin would have won, in my opinion. If it was just a 3-round fight, Kevin would have won. Those extra 2 rounds, in my opinion, is what gave it to Aiden Patrick.
I would have to watch it back. I thought it might have been 4-1.
Yeah, I think Kevin typically comes out and just overwhelms with like pressure and like volume, but Aiden was able to match him for it. And like Miles said, we saw a definitive kind of change of tides whenever he switched stances. And the attack started coming from a different direction. He didn't start circling the opposite way kind of quick enough. And like I said, Aiden was matching him for volume and power. So lots of good head movement throughout the whole fight for both guys. It was a super entertaining fight to watch.
You know, and that's why I say, man, these young bucks, I tell them, like, when you're learning how to strike, learn how to strike in both stances, because you're going to come across a motherfucker that knows how to strike really well against a southpaw or really well against an orthodox, and you might have to switch your stance to switch it up. And I didn't pay close enough attention to even see that, to be honest with you guys. But you know, it's important. You know, what if you break your left hand? You need to be able to switch and use your right hand as your jab. And you know, so I think it's real important. And to be able to switch that stance, it gives you literally double the amount of weapons. So if you're a fighter watching this and you're not already working on both stances, why not double your arsenal?
Yeah, the champ John Michael Morea jumped in the comments. He thought it was 4-1 Aiden, and shout out to him. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him compete last night. You know, things happen, and we were certainly looking forward to that.
Yeah, he had an opportunity to go triple champ status. It was a great opportunity for him stepping up. The guy missed weight by 10 pounds. He said, yeah, I'm going to do it anyways. I'll fight him. Coming up from 45 to fight at 55, the guy missed 10 pounds. So he went up to 70, from 45 to 70. And then the day of, the guy just said he didn't feel good. Said he had 20 fights. He's never felt like this before a fight. It wasn't his nerves. He wasn't anxious. It was just he felt sick and didn't want to get in there and fight. So I hate to see it. You know, John has probably some of the worst luck out of any fighter we've ever worked with. And robbed all the fans of an opportunity to see a good fight too. I think that his opponent Tyler is a tough fighter as well. But you know, it is what it is. We lost that one. I want to talk about the main event.
Yeah, we can go ahead on that. The main event, Alton Hooks versus Ryan Velez. That was a lightweight MMA bout.
So amateurs, I always say, like, nothing surprises me anymore. And I'm gonna be honest, this didn't surprise me.
It surprised me, the fact that it's back on, like that part. People dropping out the day of, shit, you know, that happens. That doesn't surprise. It sucks, but I was like, okay. But then when I got the word it's back on, he's driving up here right now. I was like, oh shit, I've never seen that before.
Come on, man! I can sell ice to a fucking Eskimo.
What?
I can get a priest to go into a horror house. Miles, you got to know who you're talking to, my man. I got the gift of gab.
So what did you get him to come back?
I just told him he needed to be a man of his word. You signed up to fight. It ain't fair. You're gonna rob this man an opportunity to fight. And he said, I'll be there. So props to him, first of all, for being a man of his word. Because so often and too often does it happen where guys don't do that. But we get a phone call 8 a.m., 9 a.m. in the morning. I don't know who it is. I don't answer it. I see a text from Mike Lee saying, hey, the opponent messaged the fighter. So I go find him on Instagram. Yo, what's going on? He messaged us. And I was like, yo, what's going on? He's like, I can't fight. I drove all the way back to Miami last night. I can't do the back and forth again. And I was like, bro, we offered you a hotel. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about right now? Why would you do that? You got to communicate with us. And he was like, sorry, I picked up a shift at work, so I can't go. And I was like, oh man. I was like, look, if you're scared, just say you're scared, bro. I was like, it sounds like you're scared. And he was like, no, I'm not. That's not it at all. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to do that or whatever. And then I was like, well, you got a couple hours to figure it out. And I said, we'll do whatever it takes. If you get here by 9 o'clock, we'll make the fight happen. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna leave here at 5 o'clock and I'll drive up. And he's like, I just need my corners to get gas money. I was like, yeah, we'll take care of your corners. You'll be good. And drove all the way up, and we ended up moving a bunch of stuff around and hanging out a little later to make it happen. But Ryland came out and put on a show. I've heard a lot of good things about him. His opponent, Alton, starting out, they went back and forth a couple times. He did a good job defending the takedown. Popped Ryland one good time. And then I think that woke him up. He's like, all right, let's go. Let's bang. And got the first round TKO. And it's pretty wild to be making your MMA debut and being the main event at an event like Combat Night.
Yeah, for sure. I think whatever is going through your head as you're like, he had already been up here and been to the weigh-ins and everything, but making that trip back, and it actually surprised me how well he presented in the very beginning of the fight. He came out, like you said, there was a couple of little flurries, and he stuck Ryan a couple of good times. It's like, okay, trying to get his wherewithal together, but eventually Ryan just overwhelmed him.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to address in the comments real quick. I don't know. I know it's probably a Jungle Cat, or it's one of the homies, ODW Nick. Yo, the man showed up, bro. I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there. Alton showed up and fought. Be careful, don't give him too much hate. At the end of the day, he showed up and did what he was supposed to do. He fought, and you got to kind of applaud the man for that. Not many people are going to drive back to Miami and then back to fight someone in their hometown the way he did it. And he stayed by his word, was a man of his word. And for me, that speaks volumes about his character.
Yeah, agreed. Because obviously we had an instance where we couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's move on to the light heavyweight bout between. I see Rylan jumped in the comments, said I appreciated him pulling up. Thank you guys for making it happen. A light heavyweight bout between Nigel Droughty and Jules Joseph.
Yeah, that was the thumper, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
What?
Oh man, yeah, you leaned into that one. I saw you talking to him right before you announced him, but obviously that's from the real. From his debut. His opponent said that to him at his at the face off. That's a perfect nickname for him too.
Yeah, I was like, do you? And sometimes that's what I like about just Combat Night, the ability to be able to, like, as a ring announcer, as a Combat Night staff, it's not okay. They're the fighters, we're the staff. We don't talk to them, whatever. You come and do your job. I think the personality and the relationships that we have with the fighters allows me to, to be able to do stuff like that with Jules Joseph. Hey man, you don't got a nickname? All right, you might as well call your last name, call you Big as fuck. He's like, yeah, I'm with that. Or like with Taylor White, like she didn't have a nickname last year for her fight. I was like, everybody say Taylor Gang, Taylor. I was like, I'm gonna do gang, and then it's like to be able to do that. It's not like so far, knock on wood, but I've never given somebody a nickname and be like, yeah, that shit sucked, man. Like so.
Yeah,
we'll see if it sticks.
We had a lot of fights that there was a bunch of pre-fight hype, but because of the weigh-ins, and it was funny. Nyjah roasted him a little bit when he stepped in front of him for the double bicep pose and said, "Shut up, you're a blue belt." He just asked him if he was a blue belt. The funniest part of that is that Nyjah's actually a blue belt. So just a little extra banner to be entertaining. I appreciate that when the guys do that. He even commented on the reel, was like, hey guys, I'm a blue belt too. I was just trying to hype the fight up, like, having fun or whatever. But then the way the fight went, Jules ends up dropping him early, hurting him early, and taking to the ground with some heavy ground and pound. And it was a beautiful finish and performance from Jules. And Nyjah's been on a tear. I believe he's like 4-1. His only loss is because he lost a point throwing illegal elbows in an amateur fight, or 3-1, something like that. But Jules looked very composed, and that was a good fight, man. I enjoyed it,
especially this being his only second MMA fight, like,
and upper weight class. He fought at 205.
Oh wow!
All right, we will keep it on moving. If you're just joining us, we are talking about results and performances from Combat Night Orlando last night. We were at the Beecham all evening, putting on some fantastic fights. And the next fight we're going to be talking about is the welterweight kickboxing bout between Jojo Alford and Jonathan Arcia. And man, that one was fireworks.
Actually, I was shocked. I thought Jojo was going to keep it inside and beat him in the boxing game. And Arcia showed that he can box. He had a really, we know he can throw some crazy kicks, and we know he has a gas tank from his last fight. But man, he threw some kicks too. Don't get me wrong, but he showed some really nice boxing in that fight, and really impressed me.
Yeah, similar to like the Nyjah and the Jules Joseph fight, where it's like, you got the guy making his second walk to the combatant cage, going up against a person who has like 5 plus fights, and it just goes to show you that the talent level that Combat Net recruits from. We don't care about the records; it's all about the talent, and definitely like from start to finish. Jonathan Arcia, man, he just came with those guys over at MMA Temple, man. It's something cooking up there in the water, just with the kicks, the body shots. He was just controlling. He was able to force Jojo to fight at his pace, his range, and he just couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, for sure. The tide, I don't want to say the tide turned. It was pretty evenly fought early in the fight. Like, we're both just like swinging for the fences and letting it rip. And as it wore on, Arcia's just volume and power and stuff just was a little too much for JoJo to handle, but that was a really fun fight to watch. Next up, we will talk about the catchweight bout between Brian Lewis and Zion Grant at 140 pounds. Both of those guys, young guys, making their debut last night, and Zion Grant looked really impressive.
Yeah, he actually pulled up to PKB today too and competed at PKB, which is pretty crazy to think that he went right back to it today to compete again. Looked great last night. He's what people would say is a wrestler. Super athletic young kid. He just turned 18, and I was impressed with his composure and his feints and his movement. He got his opponent flinching pretty hard early in the fight and put him away. Got the TKO. Had Terrence up in the VIP cage seat watching that fight. It was pretty dope experience. If you ask me, have a UFC fighter like Terrence McKinney watching you TKO somebody.
Yeah, I think the composure speaks to just him growing up in the gym. I will always say, like, Zion is to fusion what Seven is to the jungle. Like, you've been seeing this little kid, for years around these older fighters, and then now these guys are now turn 18, 19, and now like young men, and to see him step in there, that was pretty cool for me, just from always seeing that little kid hanging out with the rest of those fusion fighters. And like you said, like, composure. Like, as I'm watching, I'm like, I forgot, I was like, he's fought before with us, or is this? No, this was his first fight. The way he just handled it, well, he was just in there like this was at least his third or fourth fight.
All right. I'm going to take a moment to say hi, Charlie. I just got a message saying she was saying hi, Uncle Ramsey's. Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
I don't like Miles.
No, it's Santa. Santa's saying hi, not Miles.
Yes. Brandy, come bring Charlie in here. Let me tell her good night before you take her to bed. She just texted me and said Charlie got to go to bed soon. Bring that baby in here. Let me get my kisses.
Yeah, you know she's about to be like, is Miles there?
I've never seen such a switch up, man. She loved Miles so much.
Up. Ever since that Kanye song came out, Charlie ain't been the same.
Never again. I'm never cutting it again. It was 4 years.
Yep.
Since I cut my beard during Fort Pierce.
All right. Next bout, we're going to talk about, the lightweight kickboxing bout with Roderick Christopher and Amin Swaby. Win all 3 rounds, but Amin got it done in the third, man.
Yeah.
Impressive head kick knockout.
Yeah. Roderick has that boxing where he slips real hard and kind of like, it looks like a boxer's slip. And boy, Amin fainted hard and threw the kick right behind it. Flush. Nasty KO. That was a real as well that was a real the night of the event. Again, that's one of those ones that's like hard for me because I like both of those guys. Amin, young, hungry fighter. Roderick, OG's fought for us a few times. You hate seeing either one of those guys get knocked out. But man, Amin Swaby he's a mean dude, bro. He's a mean dude. Another one of the guys that's not like shaking hands.
Yeah, well, none of those guys over the young kids at American Martial Arts Academy, they don't shake hands. But they're still like outside of the cage, they're still all super cool, super respectful dudes. It's just when they turn into that fight mode, like it ain't going down.
Yeah, super nice kids, man. All those guys are mad respectful. The comments were wild in those reels. It's like, man, like I don't know. To me, it's not that big of a deal. I will say though, the one time someone didn't want to touch gloves with me before the fight, it was Juan Puerta in Georgia, and I remember the ref came up to me. I got in the cage first. He said, "Hey, if you let me know now if you don't want to touch gloves. I'll tell your opponent." And I said, "No, I'm down to touch gloves." And then I saw him go over to him and said the same thing to him or whatever, and he like shook his head no, and he came back and said, "Hey, man, he ain't touching gloves." And I was like, "That mother," I mean, like it did make me mad. And that's in the cage, so it's like, well, I can sit here today and be like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. As a fighter, I know how it made me feel.
So is it just like a psychological edge thing when someone presents? It's not like it's weakness or softness. It is just respect and sportsmanship. But are you getting a little tilt of an edge?
Say, hey, Miles.
Hey, Miles.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Oh, just say, hey, Uncle Ramsey and Miles.
Yeah, maybe it's just in fighting atmosphere.
It's just in person.
Yeah. All cool.
Now, I've been posting stories all the time of Charlie, where like I don't know, the other day she was looking to see Mr. Faulkner, and then she's all happy and excited, and I said Miles is here too, and she's like,
Caden still loves me. That's okay.
he does love you.
He stopped racing you though.
No, we raced him.
Oh, did you?
Jada was the official, market. We had to run to Jada and back, and then we ran to the next one. We ran to the beach. He almost busted the door. I was like, no, just touch it, Kate. Boom! And people like, I was like, sorry. Like we raced at the beach, though.
All right. Anybody have any more comments about the Roderick swipe? Again. All right.
Just striking time we see these young guys just continue to improve. Ask him about little gloves. I know he wants to run it back. I know when he did the little gloves Muay Thai against Eddie Diaz over at the Jungle, so that'd definitely be an interesting one. To watch. Anytime you see these kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters transition over to MMA or anything, combat sport with little gloves is definitely guaranteed knockout all the time.
All right. Flyweight bout between Damian Hutto and Dewan White. Hutto picked up the win in the second round via TKO, took his record to 3-0. So the more experienced Dewan White, he's an OG, been fighting with us for a long time, was facing a guy that's surging now, picking up that third win in impressive fashion. What do you think about that one?
That also too is another tough one to see Dewan. Like you said, has over like 10 fights or another combat night, OG veteran, but then to see him, lose like that, it's like, damn, man, just put a couple, more things together. I don't know. But then Davian Hutto, again, the least experienced guy, just going on the records again. Records not mattering him. He just went in there and fought his fight, and just in the second round, just took it over, turned it up, and eventually got the W. Man, these young hungry guys, coming out of just Florida in general, just taking over.
Georgia, he's from Georgia, Miles. You better put some respect. Better put some respect on Georgia.
Georgia, okay.
But no, you're right, man. You got a lot of young hungry guys right now. It's just cool to see how much the sport's evolved. There's guys that are making that are 2 fights in as amateurs right now that were really good pros when I started fighting. Seven Perkins would be a high level pro when I started fighting. Joe Gonzalez, high level pro. Tim, high level. I mean, all these guys that are so young, it's crazy to see how good they are and how they perform under the bright lights. Because when I was fighting, we didn't have that kind of pressure that they have right now. There wasn't all these reels and Instagram, and there wasn't all the lights and all the fancy stuff. It was like you're fighting in a barn against Bubba, boy. So it's cool to see how they perform. But yeah, Davion, great. I mean, Dewan looked so good in the first round, and then Davion just took over in the second. That's all she wrote.
Not a bot in the comments said, you guys are amazing. I wish Combat Night got more views. Boy, don't we know it?
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you though. Not a bot. We get pretty decent views, man. If you look at our YouTube page, when it comes to regional MMA, I think we're the most viewed regional MMA show. We put LFA to shame. We put Fury, all these other shows, you name it. But yeah, hopefully spread the good word, bro. Let more people know. If you let them know, we get more views is always appreciated.
Yeah, I think people see, oh man, you guys on UFC Fight Pass, or it's not the UFC. So like when people especially after walking down, so yeah, there was an MMA event just done. Oh, was it a UFC? No, but there's more shit out there MMA than just the UFC. And just because we're not on UFC Fight Pass, that doesn't mean the people got to come from here to get to the UFC. If you think about it,
yeah, you don't know unless you're in the business, man. And at the end of the day, we've been offered Fight Pass. It's a scam. It's not good business. It's great for somebody who don't know how to run a show, don't know how to promote, don't know how to do the things that we know how to do. But if you know how to run a good business, a good successful event, Fight Pass is robbing you.
The more you know.
Yeah, that's a business.
It's like signing a record deal to a major or being independent.
Yeah, you think you made money because you signed to a record deal, but they're taking more than half your money.
Mm-hmm. So we doing the E40. We're still just slinging them out of the trunk right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, a light heavyweight MMA bout between Cameron Caravas and Scott Watson. out of American Top Team Orlando. He picked up the win via TKO in round 1.
He looked
Those
like
are
a specimen.
A couple of guys making their debuts. Yeah.
Yeah, the wrestler guy from UCF. Like, yeah, he just from start to finish just.
Oh, yeah, that's according to Ben Stark. That's Scotty Too Hottie Watson.
Yeah, from
you know him?
Yeah.
From down south?
Well, he trained out of American Top Team Orlando, but he had lots of good stuff to say about him. So I think he has obviously trained with him or coached him or something.
Okay. That name's familiar prior to this event. So I think I might have seen it before. So I wouldn't be surprised if he would have been Stark at some point.
Yeah, he said he was a wrestler at UCF, a national collegiate wrestler at UCF and stuff like that. So he had good things to say about him. But just, what he wanted to do, take things down to the ground and finish them there. Like, especially if you have that elite grappling, like that's what you lean on your skill set. Just because it's an MMA fight doesn't mean, oh man, I gotta get a knockout. Nah, do what's comfortable and then allow that to springboard into other stuff.
And he was smart, man. He got the double hooks in, flattened him out, and he definitely dude's fighting was strong too. Got back to his base. He quit hitting him, flattened him back out. Like, he was smart. Sometimes these guys get worked up and they flatten him out more than they flatten him out and they start working back up and they start trying to strike. They lose position. But he did a very good job at not doing that. What's up, bro? Come in.
All I see is just a hand just creep out.
Yeah, man. I'm being a little weirdo, bro.
What up, Kaden?
A little K-Dog.
They said, what's up, K-Dog?
What's up?
What was your favorite fight last night?
What was your favorite fight last night? You don't know.
I didn't even watch any of the fights.
Disrespectful.
Wow.
Did Miles beat you again in the race?
We tied one. Oh, I actually won it.
Oh, you won. Okay.
How many times?
I mean, we did best out of 3. We really shouldn't have.
He said we did best out of 3. We really shouldn't have.
That one didn't pan out well for him.
Nightmare Reaper 3697 showing love in the comments. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate all the views and the subscription to the channel.
Yeah, where you from, Nightmare Reaper? Tell us in the comments. I'd like to know where all you guys are tuning in from, because we know Mitchell's big in Iceland. All right, there was a featherweight bout between Jovan Billy Flambert and Brent Kent. I think we all enjoyed saying, oh, okay, UK. Yeah, Mitchell's big in the UK.
It's funny. Listen. Everywhere we go, someone recognizes Combat Night, a logo, me, or something. Miles, I thought Iceland was the place. This was not going to happen. No way, no chance.
Oh, they recognize you in Iceland?
Bruh. Rand, I'll let Ram tell a story because you're going to think I'm lying.
Okay. And if I hadn't seen it, it would have sounded like bullshit if he had told it afterwards himself anyway. And we standing out on the corner, heading back to, like, we were just kind of walking the streets with one of the homies that's actually fighting for us. Making his pro debut in a couple of weeks in St. Pete. Shout out Aaron. And we were just standing on the corner, kind of chopping it up. Like, are we going to head back to the parking garage or whatever? And this guy walks up and he's like, hey, you're a fighter. You're a pro fighter. And we just kind of standing there looking like what? And Mitchell's like, oh, no, that's him. And he points to Aaron, like we're in his town. He's like, oh, no, that's him. He's the fighter. And he's like, the guy's like, no, you like, you have like a company, a business or something. You have Combat Night. And he was like, and we all froze. We were like, what? I was like, nah, who put you up to this? Who's around the corner? And he was like, oh no, I follow you. I've seen you guys. And I was like, where you see us? And he was like, YouTube. And I was like, shit.
International combat.
Yeah, and he was a fan. He was like, yeah, I've been following you guys, man. That's cool. And it was like so bizarre to just have somebody. And I think it was the beard. And, we put a lot of his good, funny stuff up there, but he just recognized him out the blue and approached us. And the look on the guy's face was so genuine, as far as like I think he was just as shocked that he was seeing the YouTuber in real life.
Like, aren't you an American? Like,
And he was from UK. He wasn't even from
oh yeah,
Iceland.
that's what we asked him. He was from UK. He was from London.
oh, okay.
So it was just kind of a surreal moment of like that reach. And I know we have a lot of fans in Europe. Their amateur MMA scene is quite a bit different than ours, and in Iceland it's actually illegal. So they all have to like go from there over to European countries, other European countries to compete. But yeah, so I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it myself. But now I got to say, Mitchell's big over there. He's big over there in Iceland.
You know.
Oh man, they going Lotion Man going crazy in the comments. I think that might be one of Danny's burner accounts.
Yeah.
All right. Did we talk about Javon Flambert, Brent Kent, Featherweight, MMA?
Yeah, I mean, Brent Kent, I got to be honest, I didn't watch that fight real close. But when I was watching, I thought Brent Kent was winning the fight. I had to go back. I want to go back and watch that whole fight because a lot of the fans could have been fans. But they thought Brent Kent won too. We don't get boos that often, but we got a lot of boos when that winner was announced. So I got to go back and watch that one. But I mean, it's not like it was a beating. When I was watching it was close. Moments I saw Brent was getting the better of it. But what do you guys think? Y'all watched the whole fight?
Yeah, I think it was both of those guys put it all on line. I think it was just the exhaustion, and it was like the takedowns in the third and final round. It's like that's to me what like the first 10 seconds and the last 10 seconds. That's what sticks out a lot in the judge's mind. And I think the way that Jovan, both of them are going back and forth, but the way that Jovan ended the rounds, I think that's what like stuck more. If it's a close round, oh man, I don't know this guy. But when Jovan landed those takedowns for the last 10 seconds in control, even though he wasn't like, cranking a submission or something, that just in a dominant control position, I think that's what gave him edge in some of the judges' scorecards. But both of those guys, if any advice, both of them need to work on their cardio because there's no reason at, a young kid, you're under the age of 30, why you're gassing out in a 3-minute round fight. So that's my one advice. Work on your cardio.
I think Brent Kent had a lot of people there and in support of him, and so that's where a lot of the boos were coming from, was just his support. It was a close fight, and of course they're not going to cheer for the other guy. And I think that Javon was chirping. I think him in his corner, them Treasure Coast Cartel boys. They
were.
Yeah. So I think he was antagonizing them, and then whenever he won, they were like,
yeah, more people are going to drive down from New Smyrna Beach than up from Port St. Lucie.
Yeah.
And then let's go on to the lightweight kickboxing bout between Alaa Abdelhamid and Carlos Diaz. Another couple of young guys with just a couple of kickboxing bouts under their belt. But what'd you take from that one?
The boys were warriors, man. They threw down. Again, these young guys coming out. There's a great back and forth fight.
Yeah, it was a really good back and forth fight. Abdelhamid had that baby face assassin. That boy looked like he was about 9 years old in the face. But they, like you said, warriors. They went back and forth, threw down. That was a hotly contested fight.
Yeah, I think for Carlos, it was another one of those just the body shots to me is what able to do it to his opponent in Alaa. And it's again, those guys out there, especially now out of was it Temple MMA, like you're definitely seeing a lot more, gyms starting to pop up at these shows and just start to like build that momentum away. Before it was just like maybe like 2 or 3 gyms, all these fighters are from just dominating the scene. Now you're starting to see more gyms, pop up and produce quality fighters.
All right. Featherweight MMA bout Dylan Parkinson and Jeremy Elder. Dylan picking up the win in his debut over Jeremy, the Elder God. That was another shootbox guy. They represented last night.
Yeah, new gym in the mix for us. and they really showed it. They got Austin McCray, OG for us, fought for us quite a bit. Started having a family and stuff, and got away from the sport a little bit. It's nice to have Austin back in the mix. It was cool to see him last night, and have a good night, Nightmare Reaper. But yeah, it was a great performance. These guys really showed up. What's going on with my thing? How did that happen? What the fuck?
You must have tapped the setting.
Let me see. No, I'm not in lock mode. Let me see if it'll go back. I am back. Whatever. Over here looking like a boomer.
What are you doing with these damn things? But yeah, you were saying about Shootbox having a new gym in the mix, and yeah, that was cool to see. They came out and held it down. Muay Thai bout at 145, Yusuf Malawi and Jordan Thompson. Jordan Thompson stayed undefeated, moved to 3-0, picked up a third round TKO. And that was the young guns. That was the 16, 17-year-old guys throwing down. I know that's a cool step, and I guess they already have a couple of fights under their belt, but stepping into the Combatagon, out of Bobby Dixon and Mauricio Cruz, they represented. It's cool to see those young guys getting in there.
Yeah, very competitive fight too. Jordan, his movement, the way he's able to get in, get out, get his shots, and not get hit. Man, he looked really good. He debuted with us against one of the Machida kids, one of Leoto's kids, and same thing, man. He looked good in that fight. So I'm excited to see what else he's gonna, do with us. And all these guys from Bobby Dixon's want to do MMA eventually, and I think they're doing it right by getting in these kickboxing fights and these stand-up fights and working on their grappling and silence. I'm really excited to see how all these kids do.
Yeah, both of those kids definitely came in there ready, eager to fight, and both of them showed a lot of skill, especially being like under age 18. When I was in high school, I was just, playing football and stuff like that, but not like in a, football is different because you have your team around you. Hey, man, I missed that block because you can blame it on somebody else. But when it comes to these, solo sports, like here in a big arena, like combat night kickboxing, it's like, man, it's only so just to be able to handle that pressure at age like 16. What goes into it, Mitch? Like when you guys, like how do we pick, fighters for these essentially, youth matchups? Like,
that's the matchups we're most critical of, because the last thing we want to do is put a debut from Bobby Dixon's against a debut from, I Love Kickboxing, and watch a teenager get dolly-whopped. We don't want to see that. So we pay the most attention to those fights. They have to, a lot of criteria is involved. They have to be within 18 months apart of one another. They have to be the weight, the weight and stuff. So it's the most attention to detail gets put into those teenager fights, because the last thing we want is for someone to get dolly-whopped. And I mean, it's still going to happen, right? But we do our best to make sure that these guys are ready to get in there with us.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we kicked off the evening with a bantamweight kickboxing bout between Quay Collier and Stephen Murphy. Stephen Murphy picked up the unanimous decision win in what was a hard-fought contest between those guys as well. Quay coming out of Team Reality with Richard Cox, and Murphy coming out of Dark Wolf. I thought that was another really good fight.
Yeah, great fight to kick out the card. Great back and forth fight. I think Steven got a little more experience than Quay, and I feel like it was his pressure, and he had some pretty good defense as well, man. And he was putting together some combos there and in there, and I think Quay was still trying to figure it out. Maybe a little bit of cardio too. These younger guys with just a couple of fights, you don't really know till you know. Like you could be thinking you're doing enough cardio, and then you get in there, you're like, yo. Yeah, it was a good fight.
Yeah, fight cardio and conditioning, your muscles, your biceps. Just imagine, can you just stand like this, for 15 minutes? Oh man, I could do that. Then when you do it after the first 2 minutes, you're like, whew, and I'm not even worried about punches or kicks or stuff like that. But I think there's definitely a lot of potential from both of these guys, regardless of how the way it went down.
Yeah, it was a great fight.
We can't answer everything, guys. There are about 12 children between the three of us, but
what he said, maybe. Give him some melatonin.
Nah, give him a shot of whiskey. The cheap stuff. Don't do the good stuff. If you do the cheap stuff, it's gonna help it better. Okay.
Knocks him right out. All right. Well, we covered all of the fights. So
yeah,
I want to close it off. What I'm going to say a couple of things is check out Josh Saman MMA organization foundation. We're at joshsamanfoundation.org. Whether you're an aspiring up-and-coming combat athlete and you're looking for some scholarships, we give those out quarterly, and our next deadline is June 15th. So if you want to see if you qualify to get a scholarship from us to help with your aspiring martial arts career, doesn't matter which discipline that you're in, we want to help give you some support. And also give a little plug to the homies at Defense Soap who hooked us up with some stuff to give to the fighters, little care package, get them boys clean. I'm sure you all know somebody at your gym that could use some.
Yes. Everyone who's watching this or that watches this, it's gonna right away. They're gonna think of somebody.
Somebody that needs that.
That's the person. Everyone thought of at least one.
Yeah, somebody need to shower before and after training, not just after we go. Come shower before you step on the mat. Like,
chill, JTB. We just chirping on here.
Nah, that's the problem. That the elders got it right, bro. The elders got it right. We do care. That's why we told you whiskey. I keep doing that.
Tighten up. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. This was we were recapping Combat Night Orlando last night. We'll be back on
2 weeks,
June 21st in St. Pete. All three of us will be there. Pay-per-view tickets, everything available through combatnight.com. If you can't be there, join us on the pay-per-view. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Have a good night, bro. Scoosh.
Are you ready for combat night?